And Djerry is perfect because it's explosive thing, and I'm not a very, very quiet person. And I did my first burlesque show, improvisation session at the very end of the show. I pop up my pussies and I was like, oh, my nipples is here, whoopsie. And I was like, no one cares, so let's continue.
We almost fell in love with it with a wardrobe malfunction.
I created this act because someone said to me, you are too skin. And I was like, me? I'm skin? This is very hard to say something like this to people who have an eating disorder in any kind, just talking to their body. You didn't know that I still have eating disorder. I'm still struggling with my body. When I see me on the mirror, when I take weight, I feel very, very bad, and it's ruining my life. And if I can help with my arts, it's very nice. I used to work in the medical industry because I felt I can help someone. So this is the same with my art. If I help people, it's not good to me, it's good for everyone. And it's not egocentric thing, it's just I'm happy if people are happy. Because if people are happy, the world will be better. Being feminist is not just wearing clothes, being feminist is being free and equal and no judge because of what we are wearing.
Two things can be true at the same time. And in the space between these two things, it's where the best questions lie. This is what I want to do in every episode. I take something that feels personal and I trace it back to the structures behind it. The goal is to come out clearer on the other side on what's actually going on. Subscribe now so you don't miss what's next. This is No Wonder. All right, welcome everybody to this new episode of No Wonder. We are here with Djerry, a burlesque performer. Hello, Djerry, how are you?
Hello, I'm very, very fine. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm Djerry Khan, and Djerry with a D.
So, Djerry Khan, what does this name mean exactly?
Djerry Khan, it's an object which contains like petrol or something like usually or water or something inflammable. It's a Djerry Khan, and it comes from a tattoo session with a tattooist I met, and he drew me a pin-up on my leg, and he was like, "Oh, she looks like you," and it was the sailor Djerry from the Rum, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is very nice," and I really like the name Djerry, and Djerry Can is perfect because it's like explosive thing, and I'm not a very, very quiet person.
Well, I think you introduced very well the topic that we're going to discuss today because we are discussing the art and the performance of burlesque. But before we go more into detail of what this form of expression is, tell me a little bit what you think would be the best accomplishments that you have had surrounding your performance that kind of defines you and what you do.
The best accomplishments, it's I don't know if you mean about like my act or about just
Whatever you feel it's the biggest thing that you've done so far and that brought you here.
being the burlesque industry, because actually I'm first a pole dancer. I started with pole dance, and I really didn't like sexy stuff, being sexy on the pole. It wasn't about other people, it was about me. I was like, no, 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 it's not me, it's not for me. I prefer like very, very sportive things, and I didn't feel like very well with my body, and seeing me on mirrors. So it's like kind of, I would say, um, like my brain wanted to do this, but my conscience and my education or the vision of myself didn't thought it wasn't able to do this. And now I'm in the burlesque industry, and this is now my full work. So I'm like almost naked on the stage, and I even produced a erotical cabaret. So it's like very strange journey about where I started and where I'm now.
Yes. So you started doing a lot of more out there, let's say, concept, which is wonderful, and it's exactly what I would like to go into now. So you gave me a little bit of a rundown of who you are and your development into the practice, but how did you stumble exactly into burlesque and what you do right now? Because you told me you weren't necessarily super comfortable at first. What got you into the practice?
I got in the practice because I'm a yes girl. And because of I was enough of my work. I mean, I'm a UX designer, user experience designer. I work in the industrial digital industry. So I create a website and everything. And I work a lot. And when I finished my studies, I discovered that there were another world that work, like pole dancing. And it's been a very long journey. I wasn't sure about continuing this sport. Then one day, as I have, it's not no more a problem for me, but I had a big eating disorders. A lot of things was hard to me, like the vision of me and etc. But I started to. I mean, I wanted to you. How can I say in English? I'm French.
Tell me in French.
um, I was like, I didn't want my body to give me the rules. I wanted me to give the rules to my body. So I started to do more stretching to feel free. And I continue pole dance. And after the first COVID, I was like, I have enough to work and I want to do sports for a whole year. So I started, I stopped my job um, and I started to go to a circus school for 1 year. And I didn't like the circus. I was like, oh, it's too serious for me. It's like I'm not very good technical performer. I'm like very beginner, and I do pole dance, but that's okay. I'm not very flexy. I'm not very strong. So circus wasn't my cup of tea because of my skills and because of it was too serious. And I was with one of my best friend, and she asked me, "Hey, do you want to do burlesque?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, why not?" And then I understood that we needed to show our like to put our chest with pasties, and I was like, "Okay, let's go." So I was kind of afraid to show my body, but I was like, because I'm here, so let's continue. I mean, I won't stop because I'm here. And I did my first burlesque show and improvisation session at the very end of the show. I pop up my pussies and I was like, oh, my nipples is here. Whoopsie. And I was like, okay, no one cares, so let's continue. And this is how I started to accept the fact that I was like on stage and people was there for this and they had a lot of fun and I had a lot of fun. And I was like, oh, this is the thing. Pole dance, it's okay, but yeah, no. Circus, it's okay, but yes, no, but burlesque, yes. And burlesque, circus, no. Burlesque for me, it's circus and pole dance and dance to me right now because I do pole dance burlesque and I do a lot of circus acro dance things in my burlesque.
So it's crazy how everything started. You almost fell in love with it with a wardrobe malfunction, which most people would call it more traumatizing than anything, right?
Yeah, I know, like therapeutical sport, you know.
So it's almost like seeing the audience accepting you for who you were and not being shocked, and instead embracing even the wardrobe malfunction made you feel more welcomed into the space. I would say, does that resonate?
Yes, yes, exactly. And this is, I think the word has spread when people know me and they are like, "Wow, you change a lot and you seems like very very well in your body." And that's true. I feel very well in my body right now. Uh, it's not only my age, but because I worked a lot on it.
Do you think that your exposure to burlesque and you wanting it to make this your full-time position was gradual? Like you entered the world small, like putting your feet into it, and you gradually got more into it? Or was it like one day you were like, okay, I'm doing this forever?
It for At the beginning it was just like a kind of hobby, and as I wasn't too much confidence and I had a work and it takes me like a lot of times, it was exhausted. It was just like this, and but I'm also a freelancer. So one day I had a client in the digital industry, and I was very very well paid, but I felt like very very bad. And this is the time I started burlesque. So when I started burlesque, I started this mission as a freelancer, and I think it resonated because I felt so bad in this company. So I was like, um, I felt something relaxing. I don't know if it's the right word, but you understand. And I started to have a lot of gigs, and again. And one day I was like, okay, so let's go. Let's turn into like a professional thing, and you will see where it will lead you.
How does one work in the burlesque industry? Do you get called to go to places? Do you have to pitch yourself? How do you get business into the arts and performance world?
Usually, we applied a lot when we see an application. We send the act we want to present, or sometimes it's like, I don't know the word, when people talk about you. So
Word
call
to
me.
mouth. Yes, word to mouth.
Sorry.
Word to mouth.
Word to mouth. Yes, it's
Yes.
same in France. Bouche à oreille. Yes, word to mouth. And so it depends. Sometimes they call me, sometimes I apply.
I see in your background you have a bunch of like very wonderful pictures as well as a word feminism or feminist peeking in the back of your in your background. So how do you think that the feminism fits into your day-to-day life?
I think it leads all my act. Definitely. It's not very obvious sometimes. But I think, yes, I have all the time something behind who give me the idea to do the act. My first act was about, sorry, a sexy hanky party about BDSM stuff, and it's on the Roaring 20s, how women spend their time in their bed, and they were not like very shy. They was like, "Hey, let's go." I have also an act about eating disorder, and the aim of this act is to speak about we are not alone and break the silence together, and so we can have a big recovery, or you can speak to other people, or you can educate people who doesn't know, and but just don't be alone with your big pain and your healing journey. Yeah. And
Of your act.
overact, yes, burnout, Eve in the Bible,
Okay.
who
That's
decide
what
to become she read a book and she decides to be a stripper and not a doctor, for example, because yes, my body my rules. My brain my body my rules.
That's wonderful. The
Yeah.
knowledge of Eve is like reading a book with the knowledge, the apple and everything. That's really, really interesting. I didn't see it. I think I saw the first one you mentioned and the second one you mentioned in your show, but I don't know if I saw the third one.
This is a pole
Um,
dance act.
oh,
Pole dance
okay, that's
burlesque
why.
act, yes.
But my question here then comes quite naturally, right? You mentioned a little bit earlier in the episode that you also struggled yourself with an eating disorder. The question is, when you go up on stage, how much is Djerry and how much isn't Djerry?
Oh, it's me all the time. I think I don't make the difference. I think my because I go to the energetic therapy,
Yeah.
it works very very well on me. And she said like it's not another person, like it's not no the best version of yourself. It's you as you want to show you the best. Yeah, so it's just me, and I want to be happy, and I want to make people happy. Uh, so I'm just I think very natural. I play a role, like I mean when I'm um it's still myself, but it's myself in the worries 20s, or it's myself because I have to be cute, or it's myself but I have to be very serious and badass gling gling, but it's still me, in just in different version. And it's
And
because I I tell a story. So
and when you're performing, who do you speak to usually? Do you speak to just yourself or just to the audience? Is there a mix of the two? Maybe in the act that you were talking about eating disorders, I was wondering if there was any therapeutic in it, like yourself embodying the disorder. Maybe it has an impact on yourself first, or is it just purely for the audience that looks at you?
actually it's for the audience. It's and more the audience. It's for people who think who I mean, I created this act because someone said to me, "You are too skin," and I was like, me? I'm skin." I mean, yeah, that this is very hard to say something like this to to people who have a eating disorder, uh, in any kind. Just talking to their body, it's very hard. But I was like, oh, actually, maybe you think I'm skin, but you don't know what I have been going through. You didn't know that I still have eating disorder. I'm still struggling with my body. When I see me on the mirror, when I take weights, I feel very very bad, and it's ruining my life. So you don't know. Just just don't tell this, because I have the feeling that I can't be a part of the burlesque industry because I'm too skin. So I said, okay, let's do an act about eating disorder so people can understand that we cannot have judgment like this between us. Never. I'm very, very against judgments.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you this question to be a little bit provocative. I don't mean it in any mean way. We just finished talking about how the commentary of people on your body made you feel unwell, especially because you were going through something that wasn't necessarily the easiest, right? And how this experience lifted you to wanting to be in an industry that shows your body very much, right? And how do you navigate this difference of maybe having struggled before with your body, and now your body is the basically one of the biggest assets in your career?
You said a word before about burlesque and like maybe, I mean, showing our body. It's, yes, I think it's very provocative. Bodies is political, but bodies is just body. I mean, it's just body. It's if we talk about sexualization, please let's talk about our bodies. I mean, I was talking to a pastor um, in America, and he, on his own, he said the difference between like you are in the bikinis on the beach, and you are kind of a bikinis on the stage. What's the difference? let's say to the people that you can show your body and there is nothing. This is just this can be erotic, but this is also art, and art is also erotic, or art cannot be erotic because it's just a body. I mean, if it's just like
A body is just a body, and that is 100% true. But women's body in history have been watched, have been observed, have been nitpicked, like this is good, this is not good. And in burlesque, how does this looking at a body manifest? My question revolves around, um, are you feeling sexualized when you're on stage? Are you completely not thinking about it? Is there an in between? Like, how does a woman's body on a burlesque stage is interpreted?
I think it really depends on perhaps your act, but especially on the people who are looking at you. So personally, I really don't mind. I know that this body is also can be sexy, and art is also sexy. So I don't have any trouble about people who are like looking at me like more sexually, or other people who are looking at me like, oh wow, this is hard. I, I mean, this is a part of the game, and this is very very okay. And it's to me actually, it's I think when we do this, we have to understand this, and we have to understand that this is okay, and this is how we look, and it depends on person, and it depends on the stage, and it depends on what you do, and it also depends not on what you do, but also how your body speak on itself. I mean, if I decide to be sexy, perhaps my body language is not no more not very like sexy in the way we think, you know. So it's the language of the body too. It's more than the body and the art. It's also the body language.
But at this point, I think we are long overdue talking about what burlesque is, because maybe not everybody is knowing how this works. So, what's your interpretation of burlesque?
To me, burlesque, yes, comes from um, a very old, popular um,
It's okay.
comedy and theater. So I don't want to make all this burlesque story, but um, to me, it's not just like dancing or just doing theater. It's giving a word. It's it can be politic, or it just have like give intention, interaction with the audience. But it's yeah, very. I mean, this is very important to understand, which is dance. Dance, I think you just dance for you, and you can be like a dancer, a performer dancer, and you dance very well. But it's like a performance show. You show what you know how to do the best. And burlesque is, yes, you can be a good dancer, but if you forget the audience, what it's your what you want to say, burlesque, you need to to tell something, or to, I mean, not, you don't need to, I'm sorry, this, you don't need to, you do burlesque, you do what you want to do actually. I think this is a very 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 hard question, because there is a lot of people who cannot be agree. Some people this is very political, some people this is not erotic, some people it very depends. But what we want to say is that you can do burlesque in the way you want. um, yeah, remove your clothes, it's better.
But yeah, so what I understand what you're saying is that burlesque is freedom of speech, of movement, of shapes, sizes. Everybody could be a burlesque actor, from what I'm saying. Um, but I feel like, however, for the little exposure that I've had to burlesque, which I must say, it's not the I didn't see all of the acts ever in burlesque, but there are some elements that come back often in the art of burlesque, which is, for example, sparkles, the pasties that you were mentioning, removing the clothes. Do you think that this is this type of aesthetic that the burlesque world displays? You know, the boas. Sometimes they have the like the robes and everything, the
And
gloves.
the fans and gloves. Yes, it's some kind of aesthetic, but I mean, you have burlesque and you have neo-burlesque. It,
Okay,
it
what's the
depends.
difference?
It depends on the style. It depends on the country. It depends also of a lot of things. I think you don't need to have sparkles. You can do burlesque without it. Um, you can have a story, or you can just remove your clothes in the very, very glamorous style. It really depends on your style. It's the art of the tease. So you have to tease your clothes and to communicate and to play, and it's yes, it's very different in each country.
So you could tell me I could be doing burlesque in jeans and a hoodie.
Definitely yes.
So it's not about what you're wearing, it's about the art of teasing. Um, can you tell me a little bit more about this? How do you feel when you are doing burlesque? What is teasing for you? And yeah, can you run me through a bit about this concept of tease?
Very hard question to me because I don't think I'm doing like a very and my tease it's not it's very storytelled. If I remove my gloves, I don't remove my glove just for removing this. I'm still like I'm going to do something with it, which helps the audience to understand my story. But it's because I'm French and our burlesque style is us telling stories.
The way you interpret the tease is by telling your story. So maybe I
Yes,
I start by being fully clothed and I slowly remove the clothing while the story progresses. Maybe something
yes,
is happening. I need like the performance is the removing the clothes,
yes,
right?
totally. And I'm still like thinking about, okay, I want to remove these gloves, but how I can remove this glove in the way um, which I will reuse it, or it will help to understand the story. I mean, for my act, you see, I remove my gloves during a very special and hard moment. Um, in another act, I remove a skirt and I whip myself with this because it's the moment when I say I have enough about work. So let's whip my house with this. uh, and yeah, or I have another one where I remove my bra and I throw it like a bit- yes, it's so I don't know if it's not a teasing like very. I'm not glamorous, so it's very storytell teasing. Thank you for this because I wasn't able to express it. I was like,
And so we were talking about, so we said that there are different ways of doing burlesque, right? And you mentioned that there's a burlesque and there's a neo-burlesque. Um, does inclusivity with the neo-burlesque get into the picture?
uh,
Because if I think of maybe the pin-up girls or the more vintagey aesthetic of some of the burlesque performances that I might have come across. They all have the same beauty standards, quote unquote. You see the lady with a nice hourglass shape, with the hair very well tightened, everything. I would say that a pin-up girl or like somebody in the more classic burlesque, they do have a little bit all the same body shape, style, behaviors, manners of acting. In the neo burlesque, does this get challenged a little bit more? Do we have more body types, for example?
I think in burlesque and neo burlesque, it's the same. I think it's just depending on who wants to do burlesque and who wants to do which style of burlesque. I mean, if I'm a dancer and I want to have fun, I will go to burlesque. And not all dancer, but dancer are like, yeah, they have the body because they are doing sport all the time. So I think it's just perhaps because people doesn't want to try or have fear about getting in the burlesque industry because they feel uncomfortable with their body. I think this is perhaps why there is more like the same body as you know. I believe. I think so. I hope so. And neo burlesque. Uh, I mean, I think in burlesque we all talk about inclusivity. We like to talk about it. New generation, I think so. Um and neo burlesque, yes, it's. I think it's kind of identification. If you have like as you say a lot of people who have the same body, you you don't feel like you can do this because you don't have this kind of identification. But when you see another people with which looks like more like you or with another total body, you say, "Oh, perhaps I can do this actually."
Yes,
So
100%.
this is maybe the reason why. Uh, yeah, I think.
Yeah. And since we are on the topic of bodies, I wanted to ask you a little bit about audiences in the burlesque, but I'm gonna preface this by asking you. We talked about burlesque as a glamorous or an interpretative dance, and it includes removing your clothes and getting to a bikini, kind of like we were talking about bikinis and everything, right? I was wondering if uh, the fact that burlesque audiences are different, potentially, you correct me if I'm wrong, but if burlesque audiences are different from, for example, fitness influencers on Instagram, does that, the fact that you are basically wearing the same amount of clothes, yet changes the perception that the person who does act this way or a different way has on its audience. So I'm wondering if the audience who looks at the burlesque performer expects something different from the fitness influencer, whereas they're wearing the same amount of clothes.
Hmm. This is a very, very interesting question between fitness and burlesque outfits. Um,
Influencers could be anyone else who's like showing
in
skill,
bikini,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
of course. I think because it's really sexualized as burlesque, it's kind of a very it's an image of sexy people going on stage removing their clothes. um, it's there is a very sexual or erotic or seductive connotation which in the, for example, fitness industry, it's it's about body performance. I mean, how can I say sports? No, because it's not a show. I think so. It's not a show. So, and because when people think some uh, popular believing, it's really hard to tell different ways. So they associate things directly without asking them any questions. And it's because when you talk about what you do, like this pastor in the plan, that they understand. It's when you explain to people, they were like, ah, okay. Because I think when you don't explain, you can't help people change.
Your topic there is that maybe an Instagram influencer isn't expected to be object of desire because they are doing sports, whereas the audience in the burlesque is somewhat expecting the tease, the desire, the a little bit of the eroticism, right?
It's more common to see a girl doing sports, but it's not. They are still sexualized in any case. So I think this is also something hypocrite. But people are more used to see girl in a fitness park doing sports than um, people removing their clothes on stage.
Yeah.
So I think we should think about more about this because it's a very very interesting question.
Do you think that your audience, when they come to a show that you do they see you as a sexual object?
It depends on people. I've heard I've heard one of my burlesque friends. She said, "You are very sexy on stage," and I'm like, "What? Me? I'm sexy on stage?" And I'm like, I'm do I do like strange things. Sometimes it's like very grotesque and absurd, you know. So I think she thinks I'm sexy, even when I do shit on stage, you know, because yeah, it's the way they think that something is sexy, you know. So you can be like animal, it's still sexy. You can be ugly, you can be an ugly sexy, you know.
When you are performing on a stage, do you interact with the audience? First question. And second follow up is do you feel how the audience perceives you when you are on the stage? Do you feel if they see you more for your body athleticism? So when you do like those splits or some contortion, or do you, or on the opposite, do you feel when the audience is more for your sexual energy?
No, I interact a lot with people. In one of my acts, I invite someone to whip me on stage.
Okay.
And if no one wants, everyone will whip me on the on the room. No problem. So yes, I interact a lot with people, and I keep eye contact because I don't have I'm really like uh, s- watching people like deeply in their eyes. um, but I think they don't come to see me for sexual thing. Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. Yes, not. It's more about energy, fun, um, seductive, and pleasure to see, but it's not real like sexual. Sexual things or because they are like I don't know lubric or I don't think so. And if they want to come, that's okay.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I did speak with my friends that I was gonna interview a burlesque performer, and I tried to like sense what some of the questions could be that could be of interest to speak with a professional, right? And one of the question was really about the difference between burlesque and a striptease. And so, what do you think would be the biggest difference between the two?
um let's please read my note. No, no, I'm joking. I did a cabaret on my cabaretis eroticus cabarets about sex workers and art at this on this purpose. Um, yes, striptease. I think it's more about strip removing their clothes, and it's more like about body almost naked or very very sensual, sexual, but it's not so teasing. It's already at the end of the process,
Okay.
you know. And usually you have the audience. Audience are different. Audience come to see strippers usually for private dance or to have something more in a private, in a intimate things.
So
While on burlesque, it can be still erotic or not, as I said before, but it's more about teasing, also removing the clothes, let the desire go up, and it's more on stage. The same, it's don't touch for strippers or for burlesque performers. Don't touch unless we ask them, and maybe burlesque may ask more to touch touch us than stripper does actually. And yes, it's more about show in the teasing in yeah.
because I was wondering, right? I was thinking, what was I thinking? I was saying the sentence and it left my brain. Give me a moment. So I was thinking about the fact of touching one's body, and that would be like kind of a big difference, right? You said you interact with your audience, so you ask them to whip you, right? And I don't think a striptease or somebody that's doing a striptease, you don't touch, right? You don't touch
Yeah,
unless you are authorized.
you're not allowed usually to touch. Yeah.
And I feel like this is also very intrinsicate in the concept of burlesque itself, in the word of burlesque, because if I am not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, burlesque comes from the Italian word of burla,
Voila. Pa.
which means to make fun of something. And it was born as a way of mocking and jokingly um, make fun of the situations of the age where it was presented. So it was inherently a political and a rebellious way. It was satire, basically.
But it's because of the industry of the cinema
Okay.
mainly in America. I think so. Because they started to have like a big competition with the cinema, so the burlesque industry just more started to go more on um, the body, because they felt that people were more attracted because with people removing their clothes. So striptease started, and burlesque like kind of stop because it was very more popular act and actor, sorry, arts, and they started to come back again with dita
Yeah.
to put neo burlesque in the uh,
In the light.
yes, in the height. Thank you so much. Yes.
We talked a lot about sexualizing and the bodies, and I feel like a word that people like to use a lot nowadays is the male gaze, right? So the fact that men look at you and you sexualize yourself for the male gaze. How does the male gaze play a role in your life, if at all?
I saw this on the Instagram, and I was like, I'm doing this for the male gaze, and I was like, oh, what this trend? So good question again. um, maybe people. I think it's still a question of point of view. I can't speak for other people, so uh, me, I'm not doing this for the male gaze, definitely, and I don't think the male gaze think like um, very bad on me. They when I tell people what I'm doing, they are like more like, "Wow, it's crazy," and very interested than like, it's disgusting, or yeah, you are doing this for a sexual thing. I never met this kind of persons actually.
Do you consider yourself a sex worker?
I thought about it, and I think no, I'm
Okay.
not a sex worker. I work. I don't work in the sex industry. I'm not here for that. But I can be erotic. I mean, erotic can be still a sex industry, but this is a very, very tricky question because people think that burlesque is sex work, and people doesn't think this because they just remove their clothes and this is just very fun and there is nothing sexy, and blah, blah. This is still a question of point of view. uh, I don't think I'm a sex worker, even though I'm a producer of an erotic cabaret. And I asked to people because I asked to my strippers friends or erotic um, erotic artists which work in a erotic industry. And I was like, "Do you think I'm a sex worker?" And they were like, "No, I don't think so." And I was like, "Yeah, because I'm just wondering." But the thing to me is not if I am a sex worker, it's what I do with the sex work. And to me, it's a very feminist battle. So even I'm not sex worker, or as I can be queer, or I don't want to say I'm queer, for example, because it's a lot of things. Um, I will say just I want to be with people, and I want to understand this world so I can speak to everyone and I can spread the good word.
Okay, yes.
I prefer this kind of position than who I am, because who I am, it's too difficult. It's too much thing. So just my point of view, I think I mean, w- in which way I consider to act something than I'm something, you know?
Hmm. I think it's actually quite clear in the sense that I feel like you, but a lot of the people that I know don't really need labels for themselves. They just want to be, they just want to exist. And you do that also through your feminist views, right? You were saying you try to carry everything that you do with, um, I would say, maybe a women centric mind, or at least an egalitarian mind, right? When it comes to your feminist views, I think, and I asked this question to be provocative again, so it's nothing personal, it's just to be a little bit provocative. Um, what do you say, or what would you say to somebody that tells you that taking your clothes off in public is actually the opposite of being a feminist?
I will say you understand nothing, Jon Snow. It just reminds me the Femen. I think it's do you know? It's a
But
movement. Femen. It's a movement where a girl doesn't wear kind of anything. They are topless, and they write things here, and they go to they go
the
protest. Yes, and it's the only way people hear girls.
yeah.
So maybe it's like human, you know. People are very attracted about like chess. Even me, when I see lolos, I'm like, ah. Tell to my friend I'm also right. Ah. This is a private joke. But I think it's just like people are like focus on it. So this is the only way to for us to say what they want to say. So this is very, very powerful, and this is a lot of things. This is don't sexualize my body or sexualize if you want it. Being feminist is not just like wearing clothes. Is being feminist is being like free and equal and and um, and no judge because of what we are wearing. So
Because sometimes I do fall into this limbo, right? On one end, I am thinking, okay, so if I do pole dancing, if I do like I do pole dancing myself, so I'm not wearing a lot of clothes sometimes. It's just necessary because you fall off. Anyway, I digress. So on one end, you're like, okay, I am using my body as a body. It's a tool. It's something that allows me to do strong things, hard things. And if I choose myself to not wear a lot of clothes, that is my choice, and I am reclaiming my body, and other people shouldn't be allowed to talk about it. And so that's one side of my story, right? But then on the other side, you hear maybe people who identify with the radical feminism who say this structure, so the one that sexualizes women, is in place. And even if you use the structure to your advantage, you're actually being part of the problem because you're using a structure and you're not dismantling the structure. And by this I say, if I use my body to maybe feel prettier and to get a better treatment, or if I profit with my body by showing it, by being a sex worker, by taking pictures online, selling then pictures online, etc., and to go to the extent of pornography, then it's using the system that is in place, and you're not destroying the system. You're perpetuating the system and just using it at your advantage. So I am in between. I am torn. I don't know what to think.
yeah, there is nothing to think. I mean, if we don't do things, how things can change. In any case, you will always have something who won't be agree with you. Uh, this is why we have different political uh, parts. Yeah, so the- it's if we don't do something, we don't know. So just let's try and let's see. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it's like radical. Sometimes it's
It's a complicated
yeah.
question. I
It's
understand. That is
yeah.
why I'm trying to do this podcast, because I try to find opinions so that I can create my own, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's like the way I have accepted my body. It's a long way to understand why people does this thing, to understand the history, why people are so hungry. Why people want to do things, why people try things. Uh, yeah, I think it's history. It's the reason why, but history cannot be the reason why we continue to do things. Do you know what I mean? It
So
must
you're
be the way we understand things and why people are like this, but definitely not the thing we need to follow.
okay. Yes,
So,
I
and we still are
understand.
doing war, you know.
Mm,
So, I mean, I do extrapolation, but
yeah. So correct. I try to rephrase what you're saying because I want to understand it properly. So what you're saying is that since um, so things are happening and you need to try to do the things in order to understand them. No.
no, 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 no.
Okay. I didn't understand then. Sorry.
Yeah. No, no. If you want to change something, you have to do different.
Okay, yes.
So
Mm,
there is still people who will tell you something because they don't agree. But if they don't agree because of what? Because they heard something about their sister or their friend, or they don't understand because they haven't enough history knowledge, or just
yes.
because they are I don't know extreme in their way, you know. So there is still people who will think about difference of you, and the thing is, um, knowing the history is understanding why people are doing this today. But history, it's not uh, the reason why we have to continue doing like before.
Yes, 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 yes. I understand.
Yeah, so people who doesn't understand feminist radical feminists perhaps, or radical vegans, or radical blah blah, it's because one moment you have no choice to express yourself in this way because you truly believe something, and you have to be radical to help people to understand.
Okay, I understand. If you stopped tomorrow doing burlesque, what would you want the community that you're working in remember you for or talk about you?
A girl who have fun, and who wants to to understand different countries, different um, different point of view. It's because I have the chance to travel a lot, so I meet a lot of persons, so I discover things that I would have not discovered if I didn't do this. So just like someone who have fun and who have no cares about herself. I mean, when about what she looks like, she just wanna have fun and give nice thing and spread good words. I
Thank
think
you
yes.
so much.
Yeah, it's
Thank
cute, but I'm cute. Oh no, I think yes. I I love persons. I love the world. I love my life. I love the life. Um, if I can help with my arts, uh, it's it's very nice. I used to work in the medical industry because I felt I can help someone. So this is the same with my arts. If I help people, it's it's not good to me. It's good for everyone, and it's not egocentric thing. It's just I'm happy if people are happy, because if people are happy, the world will be better.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank
Uh,
you so much again.